All right, welcome. We are back for a homework help video. And this time, let's see if I can get my paper straight. There we go. This time we're going to talk about area model division. So we covered area model multiplication. The students are mastering their skills on that. And today was our first day of our division unit. And I will admit, division is a little bit trickier than multiplication. And so it might take us a few days to really feel confident in it. But to help with that, I want to make sure that you at home can kind of see what we're learning. So let's say we were starting with the problem 294 divided by 2. So that is our problem. Today we just started with 3 digits because it was our first day. Tomorrow we'll start with 4 digits and then remainders as well. Today we didn't have any remainders. But since there are 3 digits, we are going to need 3 boxes. And I tell the students they can give themselves plenty of room. Like, these boxes don't have to be tiny because we're going to be writing some stuff in them. So we have 3 boxes to set up our problem with. Then we're going to take this number in expanded form, but unlike area model, we're going to put it inside. So area model is on top, division is inside. And I'll kind of show you why that works here in a second. It also helps when we start doing traditional, because if we think about this as the division sign, see how that works? As if 294 was in the box. Then it helps them visualize it. But anyway, we're going to take this number in expanded form, 294, and plop it in our boxes. And all of that is being divided by 2. Then our steps start, and our first step is divide. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to divide. We're going to think, how many times can 2 go into 200? And the way students do this is they look at base facts yet again. How many times can 2 go into 2? 2 can go into 2 one time, which means 2 can go into 200 100 times. Then we multiply. So that's step 2. Divide, multiply. 100 times 2 is 200. Okay? Our next step is to subtract. We subtract these numbers, and for this box, we do not have any leftovers. After we see if we have leftovers, we're going to bring up those leftovers and add them to the next box. So for this one, it doesn't affect anything because we're just bringing up 0 and adding 0 to 90. But in other boxes, it might. Once we get to a new box, we get to a new room, as we say, and we start it all over again. So we look and see how many times can 2 go into 9. Well, 9 is not a multiple of 2. So we see how close we can get. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. 9 would sit right there. So the closest I can get without going over is 8. Well, if I need to get 8 down here, it needs to be 2 times 4. It's not 8, it's 80, so it's going to be 40. That all goes back to their base facts. So that was divide and multiply. Now we subtract. My leftovers are 10. I'm going to bring up. Add that to what already is there. 10 plus 4 is going to give us 14. New box, new room, start all over again. How many times can 2 go into 14? Well, I can keep counting my multiples if I need to. And I see that that is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 times. 7 times 2 is 14 exactly. I have no leftovers. So the way that we help the students remember these steps is I actually made kind of a silly song, but we can also remember the chant, Daddy, Mommy, scoot this up a little bit, sister, and brother, auntie, and then sometimes we have Rover. And that's our remainder. So the students, you might catch them singing, divide, multiply, subtract, bring up and add, divide, multiply, subtract, bring up and add. You got your daddy, your mommy, your sister, and your brother. Don't forget your auntie and your little puppy Rover. So that's just a kind of a way that we can remember our steps and know what to do. Tomorrow we will meet Rover for the first time. We haven't had any remainders yet. But let's work one more just so we can kind of see how different problems might play out. For example, let's do, trying to think of a problem we worked in class. That was a good one. 207 divided by 9. That was a good one. So we make our boxes, giving ourselves plenty of room. I need 3 boxes because there's 3 digits in my dividend. Put it in expanded form. 200. We have 0 tens, so we put a 0, and 7 ones. And then all of that is going to be divided by 9. And then I start my steps. I'm going to divide. I walk into the room, I talk to Daddy. Daddy says divide, but I'm going to look here. This number is smaller than my divisor. If that happens, the students should go to next door. Now I can get close to 20. I write my multiples. 9, 18, 27. Well, 20 is going to land right between 18 and 27. So the closest I can get is going to be 18. But it's not just 18, it's 180, which means I need 20. That's kind of the multiply and divide step together. Depending on the problem and the student, they might do it in a different order. They might just know that 9 times 20 is 180, or they might need to find 180 because it's the closest and then work their way backwards. It really is just up to them, however their brain works. Then after that, we subtract. And that leaves us with 20. Brother tells us to bring up, give it to Auntie. Auntie says add. So we add to whatever is already in that room or that box. Now we have 20, and it starts all over again. The closest I can get to 20 is 18. Same fact. That's my 2. Subtract, and I have 2. Brother says bring it on up, and now I'm going to add 2 plus 7, because that's what's already there. And that changes my number to a 9. So now I need to see how many times can 9 go into 9. Well, if I have 9 things, and I need to make a group of 9, I can only make one group. 9 times 1 is 9. I have no leftovers. I forgot to mention how we actually find the final answer, I guess, didn't I? If we need to find the final answer, we're going to take all of these partial quotients and add them up. That was an oversight on my part. So the final answer for this one would be 147. And the final answer for this one would be 23. With no remainders because we have no leftovers in either of these problems. Let's try one with a leftover. So I'm going to come up with a number off the top of my head. Let's do 531 divided by 5. So I'm going to make my boxes. I'm going to put my number in expanded form. And we're going to start from there. Now I do want to point out that for some of these problems, there might be different ways to break up these numbers. Trying trying to think of an example. We had one where the box was 500 and we were dividing by 2, and we said the closest we could get was 400 by multiplying it by 100. And honestly, we could have gotten all the way, oops, that's not even on the camera. We could have gotten all the way to 500 because, I mean, it's even, so it must be divisible by 2. But since we're just sticking with base facts, this was a simpler approach for just the basic level of understanding for starting off. The students will learn other strategies where they can get closer to 500 if they want, but for this strategy, this will suffice. Let's go back to this one. We try to figure out how close or can we get to exactly 500. Well, we know that 5 times 1 gives us 5. So 5 times 100 must give us 500. That was multiply and divide. We subtract. We have nothing left over. Bring it up. We have nothing to add to 30. So we just start the room again. First person we talk to is Dad. Dad says divide. We can get exactly 30 if we multiply by 6. So 0 left over. Bring it on up. Adding 0 plus 1, so all we have is 1. Now, we can't make a group of 5 with only one thing. This is where Rover comes in. Rover would just have 1. So our final answer for this would be 106 with a remainder of 1. Some problems might have work here, and you multiply, you get a partial quotient up here, and then your leftovers are what you subtract. That's also a remainder. But either way, remainders are our leftovers, the things that we can no longer divide. I hope that helps. I felt like it was a little jumpy around, but I just wanted to give you kind of a basis of starting off area model division. I will most likely post another video just kind of showing more strategies, different ways to approach it, but this is just the very, very basics of how we start area model with division, the different steps, what's expected. And like I said, we just started it today, so it might be a little bit of a process for us to master it, but I know the kids are going to get it, and once they get it, it is such a satisfying feeling to conquer division. So I hope you guys, that helps a little bit. Have a good one.